Welcome back, you guys. Hope everything is going awesome for you. Hope you're making some money in this market today, even though it's a sea of red. I wanted to kind of go over part of my crypto ebook that I created, completely free, 85 pages worth, but there's a section in there where I discuss and talk about how I do coin research. And I think this video is beneficial for people who are beginning, intermediate level, and maybe even advanced level, just because I find that, I'm learning stuff every single day, from every single person, and there are always things that I always overlook, by accident or just, pure neglect, whatever. And so I want to share with you how I scrub coins and tokens. Right now, currently there are over 1,545 different currencies on the market, or at least that's what crypto or coinmarketcap.com, that's what they track. And I guarantee you there are more out there, and every single day more coming to the market. So with that being said, I'm going to show you how I go through and I scrub the coins before I invest money. No, I don't do it every single time, but it's a good set of rules, I would say, before you start hopping into any of these coins, to kind of have a basis for yourself to go off and say, hey, this is the reason why I'd put money into this coin, or this is the reason why I wouldn't put money in this coin. Doesn't mean you're right, doesn't mean you're wrong, but at least have a consistent reasoning for doing something like that. And again, this is not financial advice, this is just my own personal opinion, and this is how I go about doing things. So this is my ebook here that I wrote a while back. Let's go to page 63. Here we go. Okay, so this is my coin research checklist. And I'm just going to go through each one of these points and explain why I think they're important and why I put them into this particular part of the book. So, when was the coin created? The reason why I think that's somewhat important is because of this way. So, if a coin is brand new, that doesn't mean it's bad. There are a ton of reasons why that could still be fine. It doesn't matter necessarily when it was created, but you have to understand if it was created, let's say, at the very beginning of this crypto push and movement, and there's barely been any change in the price, and there's barely been any change in their ability to get visibility. Me personally, that makes me a little bit concerned. If you've had years in the works, being in the community, getting out there, and you still haven't been able to capture a decent chunk of the audience and move forward, why should I believe now is going to be any different? And it's, again, this is my personal opinion. Some coins that come out and they're immediately huge hype and they start to go crazy. Other coins have been around for a while and they don't go crazy, but that doesn't mean I won't invest in them. There are other coins out there I have invested in that have been around for a long time that haven't moved to the levels I think that they could go to, and I still get in. But I always look at when they were created. Number two, what is the purpose of the coin? So each coin typically, or token, will have a niche or a something behind them that they're trying to solve. And so, you want to find something, in my opinion, that is trying to solve a real problem in the world that's a viable thing. If you can look at a coin and go, oh, that makes sense. I understand why they're trying to fix that problem. And I think, to me, that would be a good thing. If you can't figure out why it makes sense to try to fix a problem, then for me personally, I go, maybe I'm not going to throw my money at it until I have a better understanding of what they're trying to fix. Is it a coin or is it a token? I believe this is important only because, coins, I consider coins typically to be the best way I can describe it is let's say you have a phone, your phone has an operating system on it. So let's consider that like a coin, where the token would be a piggyback on top of the operating system, which would be like an app on your phone. So you would need the coin, the basis, the foundation to be able to create the app. And so my biggest concern is if the coin, the foundation has an issue to it, how much does that affect the app, and how much does it affect the token, in that ecosystem? So I'm not going to go into detail about that because I don't even fully understand what the ramifications would be if something like that happened, but I do think that's something at least to look into. I don't think it's a huge ordeal nowadays, maybe as it was back at the beginning, because I think it's becoming more of a norm to have a token like an ERC20 Ethereum token. It's not as big of a deal anymore. But I think towards the beginning, it was something, at least for me, I would go, okay, how much is this going to be affected if Ethereum has an issue because it's on the Ethereum platform? Neo has its own stuff. You got Omni, Ethereum, Stellar, There's a couple more out there. And so, I think that's something at least to be paying attention to. Not as big as it used to be, I don't think, anymore. Does the coin have real world value that you could see yourself or someone else using on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? And again, this goes back to kind of what is the coin's purpose, but, can you see real value in this particular coin and token, and like what solution are they bringing to the table, and could you see yourself or somebody else using this on a consistent basis? If it's something that potentially needs to be fixed, or they could bring a better solution to the table, but it's not something that might be used on a continual basis, there's nothing wrong with that per se. But in my opinion, I want something that's going to be like a big issue that has a lot of potential, like continually, rather than some far off in the distance. You might consider that then to be a coin that would be a higher risk, higher reward situation, because maybe they're hitting something at such a basic infant stage level that they're so far in advance of the competition that there could be huge returns on that. Maybe that's the case. I just personally like to hit the ones that are kind of in the middle of the road. I feel like they're a little bit safer bet. I might not get highest returns on it, but at least I'm getting some returns on my investment. So that's me personally. Number 5, who's backing the coin financially or in other ways? So again, this kind of goes down to who is the team partnered up with, or who are they trying to get in partners with? Who's throwing money at the coin? Again, I always view these cryptocurrencies like a real world company. And that's how I view all the coins. Some people might disagree with me on that, but if they can't run this particular the management of the coin and the team move forward and have heavy backers behind it, then I don't get super concerned per se, but I like to see if money is following something. Usually that means that there's going to be more visibility, and usually that means faster adoption. Usually that also means faster partnerships. And so it's kind of a snowball effect, just like any other company. You could have a company that has amazing technology and an amazing team, but if they can't seem to fit all the pieces together, it's harder to get to that next level. So I like to look to see who's throwing money at a coin or technology. Number 6, what does the development team look like? And are they a solid team? Sometimes it's hard to judge if you're a beginner, but Google is your friend with this question. So this one's kind of a weird catch-22. Anybody, myself, I could get on there and I could write a description that looks amazing, and I could say I'm connected with this previous company and that previous company. I got partners with this and that. And so it's hard because not everybody has hours upon hours of time to do all this research, and you're kind of at the mercy of whatever the bio says on their website usually, or their white paper. But I do think it's very important to see how many team members they have, what they claim their background is, who their connections are, and where they were connected to prior to working on this particular coin. I always try to find people that have what I call the ability to pick up the phone. Meaning, and I'll go back to an example of Dragon Chain. I know I always put Dragon Chain just because I feel like they're a prime example. They have a lot of people on their team that can literally pick up the phone and call a different company and start to create those partnerships. There are plenty of people out there in the world that I guarantee you will have great ideas, but they don't have the money, they don't have the partnerships, and they don't have the ability to push it to the next level. That's, in my opinion, that's the reason why there's Shark Tank. I mean, literally, if you look at Shark Tank, you have these people that have made it to level 1, but they're trying to get to level 2 faster. And where do they go? They go to people who have connections and have money who can just propel them into that next level. And that's how I consider this too. If these people have great bios behind them, assuming it's truthful and you're trusting that, then they have the ability potentially to propel themselves quicker and almost beat out some of their competition. I'm a firm believer that competition gets pushed out of the way sometimes, even if the competition has a better product or better solution. If they can't bring it to fruition fast enough, then they're going to get pushed out of the space, and so it's something that I do pay attention to, because at the end of the day, you always want to pick a coin or token that you're going to get the best multiplier on. That's what it's coming down to. You're investing and you want to get something out of it, so that I look for those things, and I think that's something definitely important. The development team, again, I always focus too on the size of the team. I don't like teams under 5 people or less. That's kind of my personal cutoff. I don't know why, but I just feel like it needs to probably be more than 5 people, because you're going to have developers. You're going to have management in general and internally. You're going to have people connected with partners. You're going to have social managers, like, personal relationships, media type stuff. So there's just a lot. I mean, it's a company. Legitimately, it's a company. So, and the fact that typically these ICOs get millions upon millions of dollars thrown at them, then they should be able to hire those people, manage those people, and get it running like a real company. Again, my personal opinion, but that's how I invest in what I look at. Number 7, does the coin present itself like a real world company, or just a hobby coin? There are coins out there, in my personal opinion, that kind of, they might have some solutions to it, but they're not presenting themselves like hey, we're going to try to take over this space and really dominate. And that's how I feel like, that's what I try to find, coins that look to say or feel like they are truly trying to be a real world company with also in the crypto space. There's a couple out there, I'm not going to name them all off, but there's a couple out there where I feel like you look at them and you're like, this feels like a legitimate company. That's what I like to look at personally. I don't like to look at the coins that almost look like, hey, these couple people got together and it's just a hobby and go buy this coin. I mean, you can, and you could possibly make money, and I guarantee there's people out there that have made money off coins like that. I just personally don't prefer to throw my money at coins like that, or not very much if I do. Number 8, do they have an actual or active social presence? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, Slack, Telegram, etc. So I personally like it. Well, Facebook I threw on here, even though Facebook for some reason isn't that big for crypto as much. YouTube isn't as big as crypto for much, but these 4 right here, these 4 are kind of the bread and butter, if you will, when it comes to crypto. So I think Twitter, for whatever reason, is very, very big in the crypto space. Reddit definitely is very, very big. Slack has its issues. I don't really care for Slack that much. For some reason, a lot of companies or coin teams kind of latched onto that. And then there was a lot of issues with spam bots. So I think some of them have moved away from that and gone more towards Telegram. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Telegram either. Again, it's just my personal opinion. I don't know. It's just the way it flows, and I feel like everything's just kind of like, it just gets lost really quickly and easily, even though there is a search function. I like Discord groups, actually. I didn't put that in here. I should have put that in here. But, for the average person that's coming into crypto, there are a lot of people that aren't technical. So I like to see teams that realize that and say, hey, I can walk out right now into almost any, let's say, a mall or a store, whatever, and say, hey, have you heard of Telegram? And most people are like, what the heck is Telegram? Have you heard of Slack? What? Have you heard of Discord? And a lot of people just don't know. And you can argue with me on that point. Maybe I'm wrong, but I personally feel that way. But if I say, hey, have you heard of Twitter? Well, yeah, my dad even knows what Twitter is. Have you heard of Reddit? Well, yeah, I've heard of Reddit. And so I like to see teams, it's fine if they use the Telegram, Discord, and Slack, but I also want to see them use bigger platforms because I feel like that's going to be higher visibility and faster adoption. And so I want to see teams that are active on those arenas, even if the coin and token isn't moving as forward as fast as maybe I would like to see or as they would like to see. The communication is huge for me personally. Go to any real world company. Any company out there, they have to communicate with their investors. And that's essentially what we are, in my opinion. You're throwing money at a coin and you're kind of investing in the concept, the idea, and you want to see it for, the further agenda. For the most part, that's not always true, but I feel like that's a huge chunk of the reason why people are in it right now. And so that's why, real companies have quarterly reports and they're connecting with their people. They're advertising and marketing constantly. And if a team isn't doing that, I don't personally like it. Again, that's me. I throw my money at things and teams that are just constantly getting out there. I've also thrown money at coins and tokens that they're constantly getting out there and their price has kind of dipped and it hasn't done that well. So, there's always 2 sides of the coin, no pun intended to that, but I feel like that's still an important factor to pay attention to. Excuse me. What does their website look like? Again, I know people argue against this and they say, well, they're not web developers, they're cryptocurrency, they're programmers and coders. I get that, guys. Maybe 10 years ago that might be different, but we live in a day and age where if you can't just pick up a Joomla, a WordPress, a Drupal, whatever, a content management system, and make a website that looks legitimate, especially all the money that they're getting in ICO, I don't touch it, period. If you can't make a website that at least looks decent to the average, basic, person, then I don't touch it. I don't understand how I could go right now. If I know how to work Joomla and WordPress and all the other ones, just I've been in the web space long enough, and I know how to manipulate them and make them look nice enough, if you will. Like, you know, my little cheesy, my stupid blog looks terrible on purpose. I made it. I didn't want to touch it. I just threw it out there, and I was like, I don't want it to be clean looking, and I don't care. It's a Drudge Report style. I just throw links on there, whatever. It's junk looking. I've seen websites worse than mine, and I just didn't even touch it. Like, just spend an extra 2 minutes. Grab a template that looks nice enough, even if it's fooling people, and throw it out there. I've seen junk. So I stay away from junk. At least have something to make it look like a real company. So yeah, I throw some value into this. Not a ton, but I do throw some. How much traffic does their website get per month? You can use sites like similarweb.com. They also have an extension. If you see my other videos, I click on the extension, and it gives an estimate. It's not perfect. It's just a rough estimate of how many visitors they get per month. So again, it goes back to what's their how much visibility do they have, and how much are they pushing? And I look at it and say, okay, if I see kind of this ramp up, that means in the last couple months, you know, people have been hearing about this coin. That must mean that somebody's talking about it. That must mean that the team's doing something in their favor to get people to come look at it. And so I like to see websites that have either a semi-flat rate of, you know, traffic where it's not dying, but it's at least staying consistent, or some growth to it, and that makes me happy. So if I'm looking at a coin and go, oh, okay, well, it's not totally dead. Like, it's not like somebody doesn't know about this. Again, you could argue and say, well, if nobody knows about it, you think it's a great team with great technology, maybe you got in super early and you found a hidden gem. So there's that side of it too, but I like to find ones that have some decent traffic to it. Are they trending on social networks with certain hashtags? That one's a little bit extra. I mean, you know, I just look around on Twitter and Reddit. I'm big into social stuff, and I like to see, you know, do they have something that might be trending, you know, like a certain hashtags that they're using. Again, this goes back to visibility and potential adoption to what they got going. Do they have a roadmap? Explain their past, present, future goals for the coin development. Again, the roadmap, and if you don't know what a roadmap is, all it is just basically like a set of you know, future events and goals that they're trying to hit at certain dates. I think people get a little bit crazy in the crypto world, and they're like, oh, you didn't hit it perfectly, therefore the coin's dead. It's over. Guys, go to a real world company, and if they don't hit quarterly earnings, then yeah, their price is going to take a dip, but they're not dead. It's not the end of the world. And I think, you know, I think that's the danger of the roadmap, but I think the roadmaps are critical and key to understanding what the team's trying to hit. And if the team constantly cannot make you know, the ends meet and make the points on the roadmap, or they're just, you know, I don't know, if it's too vague. I don't like roadmaps that are super vague. I think that I think it was ARC actually did a really interesting thing where they didn't put deadlines on the roadmap, but they put percentages. So they said, okay, we're not going to tell you that we're going to finish this particular point of the project by March, but we're just going to tell you this is what we're going to try to accomplish, and we're 60% of the way done. And then if you come back 2 weeks later, oh, now we're 73% of the way done. So it's a different angle, a different approach. I just like companies or coins, teams that put a roadmap on there that at least give you a vision of what they're trying to accomplish in a rough time frame, or a percentage, and say, hey, here's where we were and here's where we are now. I think it's always important, no matter what you do in life, whether you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to anything in life, doesn't even matter what it is. I think it's important for life to have a roadmap for your life with goals and expectations. And if that team can't give it to you, and you've thrown millions of dollars, or people collectively millions of dollars at it, and they can't even tell you, like, this is what we're going to try to do in this rough time frame, that concerns me. I don't touch those coins. So that's that for the roadmap. Do they have a white paper, explains the coin vision, purpose plus more? If they do, at least skim it. So a lot of these white papers can get fairly complicated, way above my head a lot of times. But usually at the beginning they have like what's called their abstract or their overview, and they will go through of essentially what they're trying to accomplish and what the coin's about or token's about. And this is very important to read. If you read nothing else, at least read that. Then when they get into the crazy details with all the algorithms, calculations, that's where I kind of, I don't know what to do with that. I do pay attention to this part too, and I know some people flame me on other videos about this. I don't really care. I think it's important to know this. If the white paper is littered with grammatical errors, spelling errors, whatever, that concerns me. Who wrote that? Like, did you pay somebody else to just write you some crazy 30-page, write-up that sounded cool and then threw it on there and got money? I don't know. So again, this goes back to I hold a standard for white papers that I say it needs to be legible, it needs to look clean, it needs to make sense, it needs to be able to paint a clear picture to me and other people of what you're trying to accomplish. Also, on top of this, I made a massive mistake, and it really wasn't my fault per se, because I didn't even know this was a thing, but be careful when you're on your phone and reading a white paper. So I downloaded a bunch of white papers when I went on vacation recently, and I opened up in my Adobe PDF. I read a white paper. It was littered with spelling errors. I freaked out, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I had skimmed the white paper before, but I never read it page by page, word by word, like all 30 pages worth or whatever it was. And so when I read it and had all these errors, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to warn people, like this is bad. Like whoever wrote this is like, there's no way this team reread the white paper before they put it out. I had reset my phone. I turned my phone off, turned my phone on. I was traveling, literally on an airplane between two different countries. So I don't know what happened, but basically my phone glitched out on the PDF Adobe thing. And when I got home, and I looked at the white paper again when I was making a video about it, everything was magically fixed. And I was like, okay, that's really weird. Like, what the heck? I have screenshots. I looked at it again. It was still errored. And then sure enough, about an hour later, I reopened up my phone one last time, and all the errors were gone. So just be careful when you read a white paper. If there are a bunch of spelling errors, open it up on your computer, open it up on your phone, try it multiple places to make sure something didn't glitch out like me and don't look like an idiot, because it made me look really stupid, but it wasn't really my fault, so whatever. That's my defense. All right, number 14, did they have an ICO, which stands for initial coin offering? It's kind of like an IPO, initial public offering for a regular company. A lot of coins nowadays are doing this. I get it. Companies need money to be able to function and run, and this is the way they can raise a ton of money. This is also a way that people can scam you and raise a ton of, millions upon millions of dollars and walk away. So, some coins don't do ICOs. I believe, I'm pretty sure Zencash, one of them, didn't do an ICO as far as I know, and there's other coins out there that don't. Some people like that. Some people don't care. Some ICOs are done in one day. Some ICOs are actually split up. I think EOS is one of them where I think they've actually split up their ICO where it goes on for maybe a year, I think, or something like that, and it's at different stages. So I also know that if you live in the United States, I think a lot of times you're not even allowed to participate in a lot of ICOs, so it doesn't really matter that much when it comes to certain countries. I personally don't touch ICOs anymore anyways, even if I could get in their ICOs, I don't really touch them. I let that be. I let it hit an exchange. I wait till typically I find that it skyrockets the second it hits an exchange, the first one. And then if you let it sit for a day or two, then it just tanks. And sometimes it tanks below ICO levels, and then you can hop in. I mean, when I got into 10X, I think I got in right after the ICO, and I got in at $1.09. I don't remember what the ICO was, but I'm pretty sure I got in at a pretty decent rate, even after the market tanked a little bit. So just my opinion on that. Did they allow pre-mining, meaning some people could have mined the coin before it came out as an ICO? Again, some people kind of view this as a black eye on a particular coin or token because they feel like it's, what's the word I'm looking for? They're giving preference to one group over another. So some people don't like ICOs that only allow certain people to get in, or they allow certain people to get in at stage 1, and then stage 2 they allow the general public to get in. So again, it's really up to your opinion on whether or not you care if they've done pre-mining or not, but that is something, if you do care about, look into that, pay attention to that. Some people like it, some people don't. Is the coin mineable, or is it just a currency, or just an asset, or all of the above? So the mineable thing, I go into that because some people really like coins that you can mine. And so you're going to have a group of people, fanboys, if you will, that will rush in and go after coins that are mineable because they want to go out and mine it and sell it and trade it, whatever. So there's going to be something to that. Then there's other people that don't like coins that are mineable. Again, this gets down to your personal preference. If you care, there used to be a way on coinmarketcap.com, I think, where you could filter it, and I don't think it's available anymore. I think it's gone. I could be wrong. There used to be like an asterisk on there and be like, mine coins and not. I'd have to double check. I don't think it's there anymore. But, if that matters to you, then just try to search for that and see if they're mineable or not. Some of them aren't. What exchange does the coin currently trade on? So at the beginning, typically coins aren't on that many exchanges. As time goes on, the team is going to try to get them onto bigger and better exchanges. One of the number one exchanges at this very moment, when I say number one, as far as the most trading volume goes, is Binance. So I like coins that are on Binance, not because I like Binance, but because of the fact that so many trades are occurring on that particular platform. So imagine if you go to a really small platform, let's say EtherDelta, which I personally hate EtherDelta. I think it's counterintuitive on how it functions and it works, and it just really frustrates me personally. No offense to those people who love EtherDelta, but I've used it and whatever. But the volume of people on EtherDelta is much lower compared to the volume of people and money that's on Binance. So in theory, you could say, even if 100% of all the people on EtherDelta were trading one particular coin that just came out, it's probably not going to compare to, a fraction or a percentage of the people on Binance trading that particular coin. So I like to see coins that, if they're in beginning stages, you can only hope for them to get on new, bigger and better exchanges. And that could be opportunity if you get them in on a small exchange, and then once it hits the new one, usually prices jump up. But if it's already on a big exchange, I like to see that because then there's an ability for a lot of eyeballs to see it and a lot of money to be potentially thrown at it. What is the market cap of the coin at the moment? So again, the market cap is, some people put a lot of weight into the market cap, some people don't. Price versus times circulating supply is your market cap. And, I don't know. I don't know which way to argue whether or not I would make a huge press on the market cap, but that is something to definitely look at. It's very easy to see on coinmarketcap.com, and you can decide yourself how much weight you want to put onto the market cap and whether or not you think it's something of importance. And then from there, you can make a decision on, is it at a good level? Is it too low, too high? Whatever is, your personal preference. How much trading volume is occurring with the coin at the moment? I think that one definitely is a very, very big point. Again, I get down to adoption and visibility. If there's not very much adoption and not very much visibility, the volume is probably going to be very, very low. The higher the volume, the more chances of your ability to get in and out of the coin. If you think it's going to die and you want to get out and there's no volume, then you're stuck, But if you like the coin and you want to trade in, trade out, and, do swing trading, day trading, whatever, the volume is nice to see, and plus, the more volume there is, typically the more visibility, the more adoption. So I like to see coins that have a decent level of volume. I probably should have picked a number off the top of my head, before the video of what I personally would like to see, just to give you guys an idea of the base level volume I would like to see. I don't really know. I'd have to go back and look at some coins out there to kind of give you a generic number, but maybe... Well, I don't know. I'm not going to give you a number right now just to throw a number at you. But I would definitely start looking around at the popular coins, look at their volume, and then look at the coins that are up and coming and look at their volume and then say, okay, this is kind of a baseline of what volume should look like for coins at these price levels, this market cap, and this visibility. And then look at this new coin that you want to get into and say, how close is it to that? So that's how I would probably look at it. Do they have big plans coming up in the near future? That's kind of a fundamental, analysis side of things. So you can go to different websites and find news and events that are up and coming, and then you can say okay, well, this is coming up in the future. How is this going to affect the price? Some people, one of the big things is, I'm going to botch this. It's like, buy the rumor, sell the news, I think is what it is, or buy the news and sell the event, whatever it is. But usually it's like, let's say they're supposed to have a fork on November 19th. Typically what will happen is there'll be, not always, but I've seen a lot of times there'll be a ramp up of the price all the way very, very close to the date of the actual event. And then either right around the day of the event, so let's say if it was November 19th, maybe the 17th, 18th/19th, somewhere in there, or maybe the day or two after, and then it usually tapers off and drops down again. Don't know why that happens. That just kind of seems to be a norm right now. So if you see an event coming up and you're big into fundamental analysis and you're big into the event side of things rather than like the TA side of things, that's something to definitely look into, because you don't want to get in at extreme highs. If the hype is already there and it's like the train's already taken off, just wait. things typically always pull back, guys. They always do. Maybe not the extreme levels that you want to. I got in, for example, into Neo. I guess it wasn't Ant shares. I think it might have just switched over to Neo at the time. It was like $8.50. And it skyrocketed up to about $50, $55. And I was like, man, I wish I would have bought more, but I didn't. I waited and waited and waited. And it finally pulled all the way back down to, I think, in the 20s. I think I got in at the second round of purchasing in the 20s, or maybe the 30s, and then it shot up to over $100. And so there's always another opportunity out there. Don't panic. Let the train ride. Don't go into the FOMO stage of missing out, and you're like, oh, I can't ever get back in. Just keep it calm. Wait to the moment, and look for big plans. If you missed the big plan, then just wait it out for a little bit and get in when it dips. Are there huge amounts of negative reviews online about the coin? Again, this is subjective, but use your brain, people. If it smells rotten, don't eat it. I mean, I can't tell you how much that's personally saved me. I know it's easy now after the fact, but if you look around on my Twitter page or my Steemit page or whatever, I talked on different occasions where I was like, BitConnect did not pass the smell test, people. Like, I honestly don't know how people fell into it. I wanted to invest into BitConnect only because I was like, I personally felt that the people were so stupid that they would continue to keep the Ponzi scheme rolling, that I was like, I just don't see this thing dying soon enough. And I was like, maybe I'll just throw $100 just to see how the platform and the back end work, because that was the minimum. You had to throw 100. And I was like, I wanted to see like how you could invest and how it would come back. And I just never did it, because I was like, I know I'm gonna like totally lose my $100. It's just not even worth it. And I never did. But it's just like, if it doesn't feel right, just don't throw your money at it. Like, you can still lose money on things that you think feel right and go sour. But if it doesn't make sense financially, don't throw your money at it. This is just like if somebody came up and was like, hey, I'll give you $1 million for, I don't know, whatever. Come up with a hypothetical example. And you're like, why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. That's the same thing in the crypto space times 2. If it remotely at all doesn't seem right, stay away. Completely stay away. That's my personal opinion. That's what I do. So to me, I think that's a big, big ordeal. Go to bitcointalk.org and see how many people are talking about it and what they say, positive or negative. This research template is what I find it. Okay, so positive, negative. I find that Bitcoin Talk, they do the announcements is what they call, and a lot of times you can find hidden gems at that level, because I find that that's a very beginner stage of like, they're making an announcement and they're like, hey, hello world, this is what we're going to now try to accomplish. And then, so it's the ground level, if you will, even more so than some of the other social platforms, I personally think. So I would definitely go to bitcointalk.org, search for the particular coin that you're interested in, see how long ago they made the announcement, see how many pages in the thread, how many posts have been made and how many pages are on there, to see if there's traction, see how much negativity there is against the coin. And again, guys, there's always going to be people on both sides. There are always going to be people that to the very end, take BitConnect, for example, to the very end, as it's falling apart, they're telling you, buy in, it's going to keep going. Don't listen to anyone else, just going to keep going. And then on the flip side, there are going to be people from the very beginning and will stay to the very end and say, don't get into BitConnect. It's a Ponzi scheme. Don't throw your money. So you have to look at both sides, and then you have to make an educated decision. And you decide what you think is best for your money, because only you are responsible for your money. Nobody else, not me, not somebody else. At the end of the day, only you're going to be the one having to pay your mortgage and rent and pay, feed your kids, not me, not somebody else. So take responsibility for your own money. That's what crypto is about, is taking responsibility for your own finances. Let's see. So this is my research. Basically concludes that for the most part. I also go an extra step if I seem to really be drawn to a coin. I get plugged into their social pages. So I literally, every single time I find a coin, whether I like it or not, I typically will join the Reddit, the Twitter, if they have a Facebook. Not usually, I don't do the Facebook, the Slack, Bitcoin Talk. I'll join their newsletters. I'll join their YouTube channels. They have that. I will join everything under the sun, and I have one folder set up on my Gmail that just kind of filters out anything crypto related. And then it keeps me up to date on things, so I'm one step ahead, so to speak. But it's just, like I say in here, allows to keep my finger on the pulse of the status of the coin. And just like any other industry, it pays off to listen to the experts, watch YouTube videos, and network so you can connect with people in the know. I say down here, pro tip, I've learned a lot from random people and found out about coins a few hours in advance before they jumped up in price, purely because I paid attention to the noise on the internet, and I can't tell you how true that is. I mean, once you start to really like get involved with different things and start to talk to people, a lot of times you'll get somebody like, hey, just to let you know, I heard this from this Reddit post on this and this, and it looks like the coin might be going places, so just keep an eye out. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I mean, life is busy, guys. Like, I have a full-time job with a full-time family, and, I can't find everything on the internet. So, but if somebody came to me and like, hey, go take a look at this, I think the price might jump because of XYZ reasons, then I get home, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, like that makes sense to me. I think it could possibly move up too, or maybe it moves down, whatever. And so then I make my own educated decision based on what I found, but I never would have found that information if somebody didn't feed it to me in the first place. And so it's just always good, and no matter what you do in life, to have connections. Get friendly out there. Go on Twitter, talk to people, like tweets, like Reddit posts. Share with people, talk. Whatever. Because the more ingrained you're in it, the better chances you have of making quality decisions, in my personal opinion. So I know this video was kind of long-winded, but I wanted to go through each one of those steps because I think it explains exactly how I scrub coins, or at least try to scrub coins. I think it would benefit you no matter which level you're at least if you follow a template, either this template or a template like this. And last but not least, if you want to download the rest of this ebook, it's free. It's on cryptodiaries.com. That's my cheesy little blog. It's simple. I throw links on there from other websites, but you can download the PDF there. And again, as always, if you like the video, it would be awesome for you to give me a subscribe and thumbs up. If you dislike the video, give me a thumbs down and give me feedback. Let me know what you want to see and how I can change, so I know what new videos that I make in the future, what I can do to give you videos that you prefer and what you like. Thanks, guys. Hope you have a great day.